Have you ever had a meal and immediately, or maybe the next day or a few hours later, found yourself feeling irritable, tired, a little moody, maybe even sad or depressed? And you didn't know why. It was like, I'm not sure why I'm feeling this way. It could be the meal that you just ate. We don't necessarily think about it, but more and more doctors are coming to the realization, and many have known this for years, that there is a direct connection between the food we eat and our mental well-being. A diet that's high in processed foods, sweets with refined sugars, lots of carbs, those are things that tend to drag us down and we don't realize it. It actually sounds like the typical American diet, the meal that you can get quickly. So think about that. What does that look like? Maybe it's a hamburger that's on a white bun, which is highly processed. And then, of course, if you have a hamburger, you've got to have fries. We know those fries have been cooked in refined oils that are not healthy. And then what's a hamburger and fries without a drink? So we have a sweet tea or Coke or pop or whatever. I bet there have been times where you've ate that kind of a lunch, went back, and a couple hours later, you're feeling tired, you're dragging. It's like you can't even have the energy to finish out your workday. It was because of the food that you ate. And that's bad enough. But what about how it's affecting the brain? So I want to talk about 3 specific things and how they affect you and me on a regular basis. So first of all, that diet that's high in the processed foods definitely affects the gut. We have a very delicate ecosystem that's going on in our body. And when it gets out of whack, then things go bad. So that diet I just described, or maybe you say, I don't eat fast food, but maybe it's that pasta with all the cheese on it. And then the bread, the garlic bread that comes with it. Again, the drink. So many of the foods that we often are eating are the things that are leading us to that place. So whether it's the fast food or the fancy dinner even, a lot of those things drive inflammation. When we get the inflammation in our body, it's going to affect our brain. And that's often when we get that, almost that mental fatigue. Maybe we have trouble finding words. It affects our mood, leads to a little bit of anxiety. We suddenly find ourselves anxious about things when normally we're not. The other thing is, there is a gut-brain connection. They talk constantly. There's communication between the brain and the gut. Some say that the gut is the second brain. So what we eat and lands down here goes up here. So inside the gut, there's bacteria, okay? We usually think of that as a negative word, but we have good bacteria, but we also have bad bacteria. And there should be way more of the good bacteria. But when we're eating that diet with all of these processed things, the sugary things, the bad guys end up overpowering the good guys. And that's when disease has a way to come in. But when the bad guys are in power, that leads to sickness and disease. And the thing that we need to remember is, it isn't just what's going on in here, it's what's going on out there. We can control what's going on in here, but we also have to think about the things that we have no control over. We have no control over the atmosphere, the environment, things in the water. Yes, we can buy the filters, we can do the things, but there's still a level that we have no control over. The other thing that we have no control over is our own genes. But as I've said so many times, and I've heard this again and again, our genes are the bullet, but our diet and our lifestyle, they pull the trigger. We do have control, more control than we realize. So what do we do about it? This is the third point. We start eliminating those processed things. We start eliminating all the chips and all those extra things. Does this mean we have to have an absolutely perfect diet? Absolutely not. Yes, when we choose to go out, we make good choices. We choose high quality meats and fruits and vegetables, and we're eating a good variety of things. We're drinking filtered water. We're taking care of our body. But we definitely want to stop the things that are feeding those bad guys. And we stop eating those foods that are causing our body to compromise and our brain to be weakened. We're eating a lot of processed carbs. So, for example, the white bread, pastries, donuts. We're eating a lot of fries. We're eating white pasta, lots of rice, lots of starchy vegetables. On occasion, they're fine. But if we're eating these day in and day out, that's when we unfortunately start to see the negative effects that they can have on the body. If you've been feeling a little bit off, if you find yourself thinking, why did I just snap at that person? Why sometimes am I really tired after a meal? Why am I moody sometimes after lunch? Begin to take a look at your diet. Are there some things that you need to start eliminating and replace them with healthy choices? You will be amazed at the difference it can make. That chronic fatigue, that moodiness, constantly struggling with a little bit of anxiety. Maybe you struggle with depression. So many of these things come because of the foods we're putting in our body. If you want more of these types of tips to help you live an amazing, healthy life, follow me, subscribe. I'm Coach Maggie, a certified health and lifestyle coach, teaching you all about living the abundant life, mind, body, and spirit, so that we can honor God and chase after our dreams. So until next time, take care. And of course, as always, God bless.